Okay, so, sometimes you read something about someone, maybe a celebrity, and it clicks in a way that makes you think about your own life.
Yeah, happens all the time. What caught your eye?
Well, it was this news about Courtney Henggeler, Amanda LaRusso from Cobra Kai.
Oh, yeah, sure. Big show. What about her?
She's announced she's retiring from acting after like 20 years.
Whoa, really? From Cobra Kai and everything. That's
Yeah.
that's surprising news,
Right.
especially now.
And I saw this article in the Times of India. It just came out yesterday, April 15th, 2025, that goes into it.
Okay, interesting source. So what's the story there?
Well, that's what I thought we could get into in this deep dive.
Mhm.
Really look at why she's stepping away, what she said about her career, and what it sort of tells us about, well, the reality of being an actor.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not often you get that kind of glimpse behind the curtain, especially from someone currently in such a popular role. So, how did she announce it? Was it a big press release?
No, actually, that's part of what's interesting. She put a message up on her Substack.
Oh, okay. More direct. Personal, maybe?
Seems like it. Very direct.
Yeah.
She apparently told her agents she was just done, plain and simple.
Done. Wow. Not taking a break or exploring options,
Yeah.
just done.
Exactly. And she said something that really stuck with me. She didn't want to be a cog in the wheel of the machine anymore.
Oof. Yeah, that phrase. That resonates, doesn't it? That feeling of being just one small piece in a giant system.
Totally. Like you're replaceable, maybe.
Yeah.
Just part of the mechanics.
And she said she'd rather be the machine. What do you think she means by that? Like, take control.
That's how I read it. Maybe move into producing, directing, or maybe something else entirely.
Yeah.
Not just be subject to the system, but have more agency.
It suggests a real desire for a fundamental shift in her role, definitely. So, did she talk about why she felt like a cog? What was her experience over those 20 years?
Yeah, she did. And it's quite revealing. She said that even though acting was basically her whole career path for 2 decades, most of that time wasn't actually spent, acting,
Yeah.
performing.
Right. That makes sense. People see the final performance, but they don't see the hours, days, months, sometimes years in between.
Exactly. She talked about the constant struggle, the grind, and the uncertainty, just always waiting for that next big break.
The hustle. It's relentless in that industry. That kind of uncertainty year after year. I mean, that's got to wear you down.
For sure. And she used this metaphor saying actors survive on crumbs.
Crumbs. Wow.
Yeah, just constantly hoping that this is the day, that things finally take off, always chasing that golden goose.
That paints a vivid picture, the golden goose being that big, stable success that seems maybe just out of reach for so many, and surviving on crumbs in the meantime.
It really does. And she even shared this funny but also kind of sad story from early on.
Oh, yeah.
She was on an episode of House, the medical drama.
Remember it well.
Her only line in the whole episode was sorry.
Just sorry.
Yep, that was it. And she apparently joked, like, genius. Nailed it.
Well, you gotta laugh, I suppose. But yeah, it shows you the kind of less than glamorous moment starting out.
Definitely. It speaks volumes about perseverance, doesn't it?
It really does. You do what you have to do. And were there other things, like near misses?
Yeah, she mentioned that too. Getting roles that were supposed to be recurring.
The potential recurring role. The holy grail sometimes.
Right. But then, poof, they just only used her for one episode. Done.
Ouch. That's got to be incredibly frustrating. You think you've got something potentially stable, and then it just evaporates.
Exactly. It really highlights that instability she was talking about. You just can't plan.
No, it makes long-term planning, financial stability, all of that incredibly difficult. You're always kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop.
But, it's important to say she did build a real career. The article lists some credits.
Right. It wasn't all just single lines and vanished recurring roles.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Movies like Friends with Benefits, Nobody's Fool, Feed.
Okay, solid film work there.
And TV, too. She was in Jane the Virgin, Bones, Working Class, Royal Pains, even Henry Danger. Quite a list.
Yeah, that's consistent work across different kinds of shows. It shows she was definitely getting cast, getting seen.
So how does that square with the feeling of struggle and chasing crumbs, even with those credits?
Well, I think that's the thing about acting, isn't it? Even when you are working consistently, each job is finite. The hustle for the next job often starts before the current one even ends. The underlying pressure might always be there.
That makes sense. It's not like a regular 9 to 5 with a steady paycheck and promotions.
Not usually. No, even at a successful level.
And of course, the article singles out Cobra Kai, calls it her most recognized part.
Absolutely. Amanda LaRusso. It's a huge role on a massive global hit.
Right. And they mention her portrayal of the strong and supportive wife to Ralph Macchio's character. That role definitely put her on a different map, didn't it?
Oh, for sure. That kind of visibility is game-changing, which again makes her decision to step away now even more striking.
It really does. You'd think, okay, she's made it, right? Hit show, recognizable character. Why leave now?
It suggests that maybe that external definition of making it wasn't aligning with her internal needs or feelings about the work itself.
Yeah, like success on paper doesn't always equal personal fulfillment. Maybe the machine felt even bigger or more demanding at that level.
That's possible. Higher stakes, more pressure, maybe less creative control in some ways, ironically. Who knows? It really makes you question what success even means in these fields.
So what about the fans? How are they taking it?
Well, according to the article, the reaction seems largely positive, actually. People wishing her well, appreciating her work.
It's good to hear. It shows she made a connection.
Definitely. It reflects well on her performances and, her sincerity, as the article puts it.
And the article kind of leaves the door open, right? Doesn't say she'll never act again.
No, it acknowledges that uncertainty. But the focus is definitely on her decision now and respecting her contribution so far. It feels like a proper acknowledgement.
So when you step back and look at the whole picture from this article, Courtney Henggeler's retirement, it's a really honest look at the parts of an acting career we don't usually see.
Exactly. Beyond the red carpet, beyond the finished product, it's about the day-to-day reality, the grind, the vulnerability, feeling like that cog.
It challenges that whole romantic idea of just performing for the love of it, doesn't it?
It does. It brings in the very real pressures of the industry, the business side, the machine.
Which leads to that bigger thought,
Yeah.
this balance between passion, the thing that pulls you into something creative in the first place, and then the practicalities, the industry itself.
Yeah. How often does that machine she talked about end up kind of grinding down the initial spark, the
Yeah.
joy?
It's a tough question.
Oh.
And it applies way beyond acting, I think.
Oh, absolutely. In any field where you pour your passion into your work, there can be structures or demands that start to overshadow why you loved it to begin with. It's about finding that balance or maybe redefining your role.
Right. Which kind of brings it back around. Maybe for anyone listening, her story touches a nerve. Ever felt like a cog? What would it take to feel more like, like you're the machine in your own life, in control?
It's definitely food for thought, thinking about agency and what fulfillment really looks like for each of us.
Sure. Something to mull over. Anyway, thanks for digging into this one with me.
Yeah, really interesting story. Thanks.